In this video, we are going to start talking about solving problems using linear systems. We have already covered a few methods to solve system of linear equations. The first one was graphically by hand. The method is okay as long as the graphing the lines is not going to be a problem. When we are talking about decimal values, and if they are very small, then it's going to be a problem. We can also use graphing calculator or graphing software online, something like Desmos. But the problem with this technique is that these tools are not always available. We also learned about solving system of linear equation algebraically by using substitution or using the technique elimination. In this video, we are going to look at a couple of examples which are going to use either substitution or elimination based on the context of the problem. The first example is that Christian has a total of 8 cars and trucks. We don't know how many cars or trucks, but the total is 8. His birthday is coming and he hopes to double the number of cars he has. If he does, he will have a total 11 cars and trucks. How many cars does he have now and how many trucks does he have now? Let's say C stands for number of cars and T stands for the number of trucks. So at the moment, because if we read the problem, it says that he has a total of 8 cars. So let's say C represents the number of cars and T represents the number of trucks. So C plus T at the moment is 8. Now the problem says if he doubles the number of cars, meaning the next time after his birthday he has 2C, but the same number of trucks, he is going to have 11 cars. Now we have to find C and T. If you look at this one, we have 2 equations in 2 unknowns, so we can uniquely specify the value of C and T. We can either use substitution or elimination. I would prefer elimination because if I subtract the first equation from the second equation, I can eliminate T. So if I subtract the first one from the second one, I get 2C minus C is C. T minus T 0 is equal to 11 minus 8 is 3. So this means that there are 3 cars, and I'm going to use the first equation. I'm going to find T. So I'm going to say 3 plus T is equal to 8. I move 3 to the right, I get T is 8 minus 3, which is going to be 5. So there are 3 cars and 5 trucks. The next question says that a canoeist took 2 hours to travel 12 kilometers down a river. The return trip against the current took 3 hours. What was the average paddling rate of the canoeist and what was the speed of the current? So let's see how it looks. Let's say this is our river. It is 12 kilometers. Now, when the first part of the trip is in the direction of the river. So let's assume that C represents the speed of the canoeist and S is the speed of the river. The first time they are going in the same direction, so this means that the speed is C plus S. But remember from physics that distance d is equal to velocity v times time t. The distance here is 12 kilometers, so 12 is equal to the velocity, because they are going in the same direction, the river and the canoeist, is going to be the addition of these two. So it's going to be c plus s, and the time that it takes, because the first part is 2 hours, so it's 2. The next time, the canoeist is going in this direction, but the river is going in the opposite direction, so the resulting speed is the difference between these two. So now I can say the distance, which is the same as 12, is now c minus s times 3 hours now, because it says it took 3 hours. Now, you may say, why not s minus c? If it was s minus c, then it means, because the speed has to be positive, then it means that the river is flowing faster than the canoeist. And this means that the canoeist can never return to its initial position. This means that the canoeist's speed has to be greater. So that's why I use c minus s. So now I use the distributive law. I'm going to multiply 2 inside. I get 2c plus 2s is equal to 12. Now multiply 3 inside. I get 3c plus minus 3s is equal to 12. Now to solve this one again, I'm going to use elimination. So I multiply the first one by 3 and the second one by 2. I'm trying to eliminate s here. So from here I get 3 times 2c is 6c, 3 times 2s is 6s, 3 times 12 is 36. Now 2 times 3c is 6c, 2 times negative 3s is negative 6s, and 2 times 12 is 24. Now if you look at these two equations, if I add them together, s is going to be cancelled. So 6c plus 6c is 12c is going to be equal to 60, because 36 plus 24 is 60. Now I divide by 12. I get c is equal to 5. So this means that the canoeist is going 5 kilometers per hour. Now to find the speed of the current, I'm going to pick one of the equations, let's say the first one, and I'm going to find s. So I'm going to say 2c, 2 times 5, plus 2s is equal to 12. 2 times 5 is 10, plus 2s is equal to 12. If I move this one to the right, I get 2s, is equal to 12 minus 10 is 2. So s is equal to 1 kilometers per hour. The next example says Miriam has a bottle of 5% acetic acid. Okay, so let's say this is the 5% and 10%. So this is 10%. Let's assume that she takes X milliliters or liters, whatever, milliliters of the 5% and the Y milliliter of the 10%. She mixes it. Now, we want to know how much of each should she combine to get 250 milliliter of 8%. This means that X plus Y has to be 250 milliliters, obviously, and now the solution has to be 8% acidic. This means that if I multiply X by 5%, meaning 0.05, and then add 0.1 Y, The reason 0.1 because 10% is 10 divided by 100 is 1 over 10, which is 0.1 times y. This is the amount of acid I'm going to have in my solution. This has to be equal to 8% times 250. So it's 0.08 times 250. Now, 0.08 times 250 is going to give me 20. So this is 20. It is much easier if we use non-decimal values. So if I multiply this equation by, let's say, 10, then I'm going to get rid of 0.1 here. So if I multiply this equation by 10, I get 0.5x plus y is equal to 200. Now if you look at this equation and this equation, you can see that y, I can subtract them and get rid of y. So if I subtract the second equation from the first equation, I get x minus 0.5x is going to give me 0.5x. Y minus y gives me 0. And 250 minus 200 gives me 50. If I divide both by 0.5, I get x is 100 milliliter. Now, the total solution is 250 milliliter. So obviously y is 150 milliliter.